this content creator has a question about churches.
You're telling me that churches make their members turn in their tax returns to them?
Some.
You're telling me that's really happening?
Yeah.
They tell their members to turn in their tax returns to them, and as the church, they go over the tax returns of their members to make sure that they are giving them enough of their money. Not only that, you're telling me that churches are paying consultants to come in, paying consultants hundreds of thousands of dollars, do I have that right? To make sure that these consultants are coming in and teaching the church how to raise more money than the members are willing to give. That's right, they get their members to donate, and then these consultants teach them what to say and how to manipulate their own members to make them not only give more, but give more than they know their members can afford. Do I have that right? The members who are literally the reason that church exists, they are paying a third party to come in and help them to manipulate the reason that they exist and to put them knowingly in a financial bind so that the church gets as much money from their members as possible. This is real. This is where we're at with churches now? Are we okay with this?
I've never been okay with any of this, but yeah, some of that. Yeah, I worked for a gentleman who was part of a megachurch years ago. We're talking over 20 years ago. Well, 25 years ago. I mean, fucking a long time ago. I worked for a guy who was a member of this megachurch in the far northwest suburbs. Like the main room held 10,000 people where the sermon was. And in order to attract new members, people like him who had been members for years would have to watch the sermon in an antechamber, another room with a screen that held like 5,000 with a big screen on it, so that the people that were coming to visit the church for the first time, or these new members, they could wow them with the big room. And he had to sign a contract that he would give 10% of his gross pay, 10% to the church in order to be a member. And they made him turn in his taxes. They made him turn in his tax returns and his financial statements so that they could pour over it and make sure that he gave them 10% of his gross. Now, I didn't hear anything about a consultant coming in and teaching them how to milk their members, but I mean, yeah, that wouldn't surprise me if churches around this country were doing that. The mega churches, obviously, not the small churches, but yeah, he was very open about it. In order to be a member of that church, it's Willow something up in the far northwest suburbs. In order to be a member of that church, he had to give up 10% of his gross, and he had to financially prove through his tax returns that he was giving them the appropriate amount of money. Religion is some of the worst evil on this planet. It is some of the greediest evil, some of the most damaging evil, some of the most violent evil, and some of the most corrupt evil on this fucking planet. Churches are the worst. And that's not just Christian churches. Throw it all in there. Throw the Muslims and the Jews and the Christians, throw them all in together. Not the people, the churches, the organizations. Yeah, they're the fucking worst. They will leech everything. You saw that video of that pastor who does that bullshit seed money, right? I hate that fucking shit. You send me $1,000 and I'm gonna seed it, and 100,000 will come back to you in some way, shape, or form down the road. And he asked everybody in his congregation to come up with 1,000 plus 1,000, $2,000. And this woman only had $1,200 in her account. And she gets up in front of the church and she hands this pastor a check for $1,200. And he goes, "That's just $1,200. That's not what I asked for." And she said, I don't have, I'll have to work on the other 800. He goes, "Well, that's not what I asked you for." And he turned to the congregation and shamed her in front of the whole congregation. "I said 1,000 plus 1,000. Basically, don't come up here if you don't have $2,000 for me." Fucking piece of shit. Yeah, some of that shit is, unfortunately, very real. And no, I am not okay with it at all.